Good afternoon. On today's news broadcast, Polish protest, a Chattanooga gas station fire, and many cat toes. Plus local sports, weather, and more. APSU-TV News starts right now. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brandon Crosslin.
And I'm Rachel LeJeune.
APSU is looking for new students to join the ROTC program. According to the Leaf Chronicle, you could possibly be offered $5,000 if you are a college sophomore who completes the basic cadet training and becomes a commissioned officer. If you are interested in the military services, being in the ROTC program will bring many opportunities after graduation. For more information, contact Julius R. Kelly III at 931-575-1954.
The Austin Peay campus was made a little more attractive this week by 200 co-eds. Purpose on Purpose, an organization for the empowerment of women of color, had a photo shoot on Thursday for 100 women and 100 men, all dressed in their finest attire. Local chapter president Aaliyah Butler says the event was held to combat the negative stereotype image many may have of millennial African American men and women. Butler says she was pleased with the turnout and with the positive reaction from many of the students of the UC who saw the photo shoot in session.
Well, a huge fire starts at a gas station in southeast Tennessee and happened just outside of Chattanooga. Crews were draining a gas tank when the fumes suddenly caught fire. CNN's Kayla Strayer reports.
Firefighters rushed through traffic to get to the scene off Lee Highway. They got the call from Midnight Oil owner Steve Ray around 10:30 this morning.
I guess the fumes were just too much, and we're not sure what ignited it, but there was a boom.
A boom followed by fast-moving flames, eventually leading to this huge cloud of thick smoke rising from the station. This viewer video showing the worst of the scene.
I'd never seen anything so ferocious. It was like it had a life of its own.
Bruce Garner with the Chattanooga Fire Department says firefighters worked together to put the main fire out in about 15 minutes, then moving on to clearing hot spots.
It could have been a lot worse. The fire could have spread and consumed the entire business they had, but the Tri-Community firefighters got here very, very quickly.
Firefighters did a tremendous job. They were here so quick, and they saved this whole business. They sure did.
You can see from our News Channel 9 Skycam video, most of the building is okay. The most important thing, no one was injured. Steve has been in business for 35 years, and he's very anxious to get things back up and running. What does this business mean to you?
It's my life. I've been here since 1983. It's what we do, and this is a setback, but we'll rebuild it. We've got insurance, and we'll operate just fine until we get it rebuilt, and it'll be bigger and better than ever.
He is already planning a way to show his appreciation to these first responders.
And when this is all said and done, they can expect a big barbecue throwdown in their future.
While many are preparing for the storm, sometimes the worst part of it is the cleanup. One Greenfield woman is thankful officers were able to help dig her out. CNN's Ashley Sears has the story.
And called me on the radio and asked if I wanted to come out.
It is not your normal call for backup, but it was one Greenfield police officer, David Vitek, did not hesitate to take.
We were all happy to step in to help out.
Wednesday afternoon near 60th and Layton, another officer noticed something wasn't right. There was no crime scene or suspicious activity, but an elderly woman shoveling her rather large driveway all alone.
They said it looked like she was kind of having a little bit of an issue, struggling with the shoveling.
He pulled over and helped out. Two other officers quickly joined in. This photo was snapped by a passerby. Within 15 minutes, they had the driveway cleared.
All of us are police officers because we have a commitment to serve our citizens.
Officers happy to help, proving a simple gesture can go a long way.
We saw somebody that needed some help and we were ready to step in.
For more on the weather here, let's head over to Aaliyah Harris.
Thank you, Rachel. So for our current national temperature, Seattle's at 44, Los Angeles 72, Denver at 39, while here in Dallas it's 62, Chicago's 27, and Atlanta 56, and New York at 36. And today's highs, it looks like in Memphis it's going to be 60. It's a little bit warmer today than it was yesterday. But Clarksville is 63, and Nashville is 65, and then here in Knoxville is 61, while Chattanooga is 62. And then for tonight's lows, it's going to be 51 in Memphis, 50 in Clarksville, 52 in Nashville, 43 in Knoxville, and in Chattanooga here is 48. So for today's current temperature is a lot more warmer, like I said earlier. So the winds are south-southwest at 12 miles per hour. So get out there and enjoy some of the warmth we have today. And so for tonight's temperature, it's going to be 50 degrees, a lot of rain going on, there's 100% precipitation, south-southeast for winds at 5 miles per hour. So for our 5-day forecast, it's going to be mostly sunny on Friday, and with a little bit of clouds there. And for the high of 63 and the low of 50. For Saturday, it's going to be a lot of rain, so be sure to pack your umbrella and your coat. And with a high of 52 and the low of 37. For Sunday, it's going to be morning showers in the morning, so make sure you have a coat and umbrella and prepare for that. The high is going to be 39 and low of 29. On Monday, it's going to be very cloudy with a high of 45 and a low of 37. And on Tuesday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a high of 60 and a low of 46. Still ahead, Brice Bement tells us what's happening in the world of sports. APSU-TV News, we'll be right back.
Every year, we lose 400 people to carbon monoxide poisoning. 170 of these incidents are from non-automotive consumer products.
Poisoning can help to be prevented by installing a CO device in your home, having your appliances serviced by a qualified technician, even having your mechanic regularly touch up on your exhaust systems. Never have your vehicle running in a garage that is connected to a home, or have the garage door closed.
Are you prepared for life outside of college?
Probably not yet.
Austin Peay's Career Services is there to help you transition to post-grad life.
I've had some friends use Career Services, but I've never used it myself.
Whether you need assistance finding a major or preparing for your future career, this free service has all of the tools to guide you.
We try to equip students and alumni with the tools that they need to go through that job searching process.
They built their resume, and it gave like complete relief off of me because I was able to walk out of there and be confident in my next interview.
The entire reason of going to college is so that you can actually get a job. So those resources that are available to you in career services are second to none on campus. It's the best place to go to.
Stop by room 210 in the Morgan University Center or visit www.apsu.edu/careers. Take the first step into your future today.
How will you lead to a better future? Will you lead through life-changing innovations, or will your leadership shine through the quality of your work? Success is defined by the individual. So it's time to think about the person you want to be and where you will learn to lead through excellence. It's time to become a governor at Austin Peay.
A major legal challenge to President Trump's border wall has ended up in the courtroom of the judge he disparaged with racist remarks. Federal Judge Gonzalo Curiel faced one verbal assault after another by Donald Trump when he was running for president. Trump took aim at the judge as he presided over the fraud case against the now-defunct Trump University. Now, that case settled, but now that same judge has been assigned another lawsuit close to Trump's heart, a case that could impede the building of Trump's promised border wall. CNN's Sarah Snyder has more.
This border wall battle begins where the ocean meets the land in San Diego and goes 14 miles inland right through a national wildlife refuge.
That area is an environmental hotspot. It has habitats for endangered species along its length. It has protected federal lands, national parks, national monuments, national forests.
The state of California and environmentalists sued the Department of Homeland Security, saying it is using waivers to thwart environmental laws in order to build a border wall where a fence already exists. How many laws are being circumvented with these waivers?
More than 30. So no environmental impact study, no public outreach, no consultation with experts, no specific look at endangered species. They waived more than 30 other laws that aren't at issue in our lawsuit, like Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Safe Drinking Water Act.
In 1996, Congress authorized waivers to speed up the process of building border barriers by bypassing certain federal and state laws. DHS is arguing it has the authority to continue to do so. That is how this fence ended up being built in the first place. The agency would not comment on the current case. Now, the case that could impede Trump's biggest campaign promise has been assigned to Judge Gonzalo Curiel.
I have a judge who is a hater of Donald Trump, a hater. He's a hater. His name is Gonzalo Curiel.
Then candidate Donald Trump launched attack after attack against the federal judge as he presided over the Trump University fraud case. CNN's Jake Tapper questioned Mr. Trump about it.
I've been treated very unfairly by this judge. Now, this judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I am going to do very well with the Hispanics, the Mexicans.
So
everybody.
no Mexican judge could ever be involved in a case that involves you?
He's a member of a society where, very pro-Mexico, and that's fine. It's all fine. But
Except that you're calling into question his heritage.
I think he should recuse himself.
Because he's
then
Latino.
You also say, does he know the lawyer on the other side? I mean, does he know the lawyer? A lot of people say
But I'm
yes.
not talking about that. I'm talking about
that's another problem.
But you're invoking his race when talking about whether or not he can do his job.
Jake, I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I'm trying to keep business out of Mexico. Mexico's fine. There's nothing.
But he's American. He's an American.
He's of Mexican heritage, and he's very proud of it.
At the time, Trump's comments were condemned by many.
Claiming a person can't do their job because of their race is sort of like the textbook definition of a racist comment.
We asked the White House for comment on whether President Trump has changed his stance on Judge Curiel as he hears arguments in another case that could seriously slow down the building of a border wall.
The Winter Olympics have started now, and CNN's Ivan Watson gives us a closer look at the preparations.
The Winter Olympics have begun, a festival of athletics, music, and culture in the frigid mountains of South Korea. Until recently, most people around the world probably never heard of Pyeongchang. It's a small South Korean ski resort town of around 43,000 people that's now home to the 2018 Winter Olympics. The Korean hosts have been preparing for years. Pyeongchang may not be big, but it's offering extra activities on the sidelines of the Games to entertain visitors from around the world. The mayor of Pyeongchang tells me he anticipates 2 million visitors during the Olympics. Unlike previous Winter Olympic host cities, Vancouver and Sochi, warm temperatures are not going to be a problem in Pyeongchang. It's well below freezing here day and night. Surprisingly, snow is an issue because there's very little precipitation here right now. So even the organizers of this annual snow festival have to rely on man-made snow. The snow festival and ski slopes may look festive and frosty, but for now, most of the surrounding hills look pretty brown. We've left the mountains of Pyeongchang, and Mr. Kim is driving us about an hour away to the coastal city of Gangneung, and that's where the venues are for other events like figure skating and ice hockey. We also hear that the weather there should be quite a bit warmer. In Gangneung, the venues are more concentrated and located within walking distance of each other. Sightseers looking for something different may visit the city's Coastal Unification Park, where the icy weather isn't really that much warmer. Here, we find a submarine.
This submarine is from North Korea and invaded South Korea, Gangneung in 1996 and September 23.
You can even take a tour of the captured North Korean submarine, provided you wear this helmet. Along the coast, barbed wire and military fortifications protecting South Korea from its northern neighbor. South Korea is calling these the Peace Games, but the fact is that the Olympic venues are in close proximity to the demilitarized zone and to North Korea. Both of these countries are still technically at war, a reality that makes up part of the backdrop of these Winter Olympics. Ivan Watson, CNN, Gangneung, South Korea.
For more information on what's happening in sports, let's head over to Brice Bement for a look at your Gov Sports update.
Thanks, Rachel.
Battle at the border happened last night for both Austin Peay men's and women's basketball. Austin Peay faced rival Murray State, ending in a devastating losses for both men and women. The Lady Govs played first, coming out hard in the first quarter. The Lady Govs were down by 4 points going into the second. Murray scored 25 points off the Govs turnovers just alone. The game ended with a loss against Murray with a score of 91-65. The Govs will play again tomorrow, February 10th at 1 p.m. at Eastern Illinois University. The game is available to watch on the OVC Digital Network and Gov Sports Net. Now on to the men. The Govs lost 63-84. Avery Ugba continued to lead the Govs with 16 total points in the game. The game came down to who was making more shots, and Murray's were just falling. Murray shot 72% in the second half, while the Govs only shot 37% in the second half. The Govs will need to recover for their loss since they play tomorrow, Saturday, February 10th at 3:15 at Eastern Illinois. The game will be available to watch on the OVC Digital Net and Gov Sports Net. Both Govs basketball teams will have a chance at redemption against Murray State again on Saturday, February 24th at home. Now on to tennis. The women's tennis team lost 6-1 to Chattanooga on Sunday at the Govs Indoor Tennis Center. Lydia Yanes Garcia teamed with Fabienne Schmidt, won doubles, but Chattanooga took 4 out of 5 single matches. Garcia claimed a #1 singles victory though. The Govs will play tomorrow, February 10th at Oral Roberts in Conway, Arkansas. The men's Austin Peay tennis team dropped a hard 7-0 decision against Louisville on Sunday. The Louisville Cardinals took all 3 double matches and all 6 single matches. The Govs will play today at Southern Indiana University. Austin Peay softball is back in action. The softball team plays this weekend at Georgia Southern. The Govs play today at 1 p.m. against Radford University and 6 p.m. tonight against Georgia Southern University. Now that's all the time we have for sports. APSU-TV News will be right back.
The honors program at Austin Peay started. There was a group of professors who thought, what are we doing for our strongest students? And since then, the program has changed and grown with the university. And now we have over 300 students who are in the program. It's open to students of all majors.
I wanted something that would set me apart from other pre-med students. So I thought the honors program would help me with that. It's pretty easy to make friends here because everyone here is focused on school because they're in the honors program, so they want to get something out of school. And it's just a nice place to come and study.
In the classrooms, they will be asked to stand on their tiptoes, is what we say. But the classes are more interesting. They move along a little faster. It's a place where those students can congregate to study, so I think students are better prepared for careers and for life in general through that academic curriculum.
Welcome back. Dozens of Holocaust survivors were protesting outside the Polish embassy in Tel Aviv yesterday. Now they're furious over Poland's new law that criminalizes some speech about the Holocaust. People could face jail time for using terms like, quote, Polish death camps to describe Nazi-run concentration camps on Polish soil. They could also be imprisoned for suggesting Poland was complicit with Nazi crimes. Poland's president says the new law protects the, quote, historical truth. CNN's Atika Schubert has this story.
About an hour and a half from Krakow, Poland, stands Auschwitz, a grim reminder of the horrors of the Holocaust. Nazi Germany built the death camp here, first for imprisoning Polish political prisoners, then to carry out the extermination of the Jewish people. Now Polish lawmakers want to enforce their view of history with a new law that makes it illegal to accuse Polish complicity in Nazi crimes, describing Auschwitz inaccurately as a, quote, Polish death camp could be punishable by up to 3 years in prison or hefty fines. At one of the oldest remaining synagogues in Warsaw, Rabbi Michael Shudrick, the chief rabbi of Poland, has worked for decades to bridge the Jewish experience of persecution and survival here with the Polish view of history.
It is painful for Poles to hear Polish death camps because they didn't plan Auschwitz, they didn't build Auschwitz, they didn't run Auschwitz. The first people sent to Auschwitz were Polish intellectuals. And so that's painful. But on the other side, for Jews, to think that we can't speak about even difficult things, Jedwabne, where Poles killed Jews, or the Kielce pogrom, where 42 Jews were killed after the war, that we're going to be limited in saying that, that's very painful to Jews.
The proposed law has passed through Parliament and been signed by the president, but it is still waiting for approval by Poland's constitutional court. Both Israel and the U.S. have criticized the legislation, but Poland's government insists the law is needed to set the historical record straight.
Showing the text of the law is critical itself. It clearly says academic research, artistic performance is excluded from the law, and it clearly states that only if you blame Polish state and Polish nation with the crime of Holocaust, you risk to be punished legally.
On the streets of Warsaw, the law does have public support, but there are concerns on how it will be enforced. I think it's a good thing, this man told us. The truth needs to be exposed. I think that we are not what some people think of us, so this law is a good thing. We Poles know that there were German camps, and they were responsible for the destruction of Jewish Poles and other nationalities, this woman says. That point of view, I don't have any doubts. How the law is formulated, I don't know. But I think that the world should know what the history is. Well, it's clear to me that these were not Polish camps. That's number one, this man says. But to make it a crime, a punishable act, that seems a bit of an exaggeration, he says. What Rabbi Shudrick fears is that the law will not set the historical record straight at all.
The goal of education has absolutely not been met. The opposite has happened. Although we're hearing many more distortions of facts now than we heard 2 weeks ago. So the way the law was written, the way it was presented, failed to meet its goal.
How a country remembers its history is political. For Poland's current government, making it the law is one way towards its view of history. Atika Schubert, CNN, Warsaw.
In a CNN exclusive, senior international correspondent Nick Patton-Walsh got rare access to the U.S. Special Forces as they digest an extraordinary attack on them and their allies in a pro-regime forces in Syria. CNN accompanies the forces to the front line where they are still fighting against ISIS and worrying about the new attacks. It's a troubling episode that highlights contradictions of the war, America's expanding role and enemies in Syria, versus the focus on rebuilding, as the U.S. Special Forces commander takes CNN for a kebab in the ruins of quickly recovering Raqqa.
The main reason America says it's still in Syria is out there, in the cold dust that hides the remnants of ISIS. Over the years, berms like these have slowly pinned ISIS down into smaller and smaller territory. Their last sliver of desert there on the Syrian-Iraqi border, where possibly their leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi could be hiding out. But in this last stage of the fight, the problems and indeed the enemies the Syrian Kurds here and their American allies face continue to mount. Last night, another new enemy emerged near here. Tanks and 500 militants loyal to the Syrian regime advanced on and shelled American commandos and their Syrian Kurdish allies not far west of here. US warplanes and gunships killed 100 of them, the rest fled. What on earth just happened last night and why haunts the US Special Operations Commander.
I guess I am a little bit surprised. Whoever that was knew that the SDF were in defensible positions and knows that they're a fierce opponent.
Does your head begin to spin occasionally when you just look around going, where do the enemies stop and where does the good news begin?
It can be complex out here if you try to take into all those factors. The good thing about being in the military is that we usually have a military mission, and our military mission out here is to defeat ISIS.
When that attack began, this Kurdish commander rang a Russian military monitor meant to keep the peace here to ask what was happening. He told me there were no movements, he says, and then that they were happening without their permission. An hour later, he rang and asked for a ceasefire. It's strange. Russia is a great power and knows about any move from the regime. They bear responsibility for yesterday. Kicking ISIS out of Syria and Raqqa below has left a vacuum, but also devastation. Nobody knows how many are buried under the rubble below. Yet the US is trying to help rebuild, to clear the endless mines ISIS hid in even toys or refrigerators, and paying for new local police lining the streets. Well, that's one of the contradictions you're dealing with. You want people to come back, but you also have to accept that it may not be safe for them to do so. At the same time, you want to help, but at the same time, you know you can't stay here forever. At the end of the day, are you worried people are going to end up blaming the US if this place isn't rebuilt in a heartbeat?
We've learned lessons the wrong way to do this, and I think that we are doing a very good job of making sure that everything we're doing here is through the Raqqa Civil Council, working to make sure that everybody appreciates that it's the governing body here that is dictating and providing the guidance for whatever we are doing to try to help.
ISIS surely never expected to have US commandos touring their execution amphitheatre, or even ordering 20 chicken kebabs on the street here. The message to the outside world: it's safe enough to come and help rebuild. I was the first person to reopen here, he says. We need basic services, water, electricity. I had 3 mines in my own home, but the local council removed them. Life is rushing back here because no one can wait for the rubble to be cleared, the mines to be gone. So ignored and desperate, these people once let ISIS's horror in. Now they urgently need something better, so it never returns. Nick Payton-Walsh, CNN, Northern Syria.
Now on today's Health Minute, drowsy drivers are a bigger problem than you may realize. They not only put their lives at risk, but also everyone else on the road. Here's CNN's Reed Bynum with today's Health Minute.
New research from the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety found that drowsy drivers are a bigger road risk than previously thought. Accidents are 3 times as great during the nighttime hours where drowsiness was a factor.
Similar to alcohol intoxication, your reflexes and responses and data processing speed would be slower.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says an estimated 1 in 25 adult drivers report having fallen asleep while driving in the previous 30 days. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that drowsy driving is responsible each year for about 83,000 crashes, 37,000 of them with injuries and nearly 900 deaths. If you're on the road, make sure you recognize the signs of drowsy driving: yawning or blinking frequently, missing your exit, or drifting from your lane. If you think you're too tired to drive, you probably are, so pull over. Better yet, don't get behind the wheel to begin with. For today's Health Minute, I'm Reed Bynum.
Everyone knows cats have 9 lives, but who knew they could have so many toes? CNN's Jeremy Roth shows a Minnesota cat whose toes tie a world record in today's Take a Look at This.
Meet Paws. She's a Minnesota cat with 28 toes. We know what you're thinking. You've got to be kidding me. Paws has 3 extra toes on each forepaw and 1 extra on each back paw. Her extra digits are a tie for the Guinness World Record for most toes on a cat. Who knew that was even a thing? Actually, cats with extra toes are called polydactyl cats. They're also nicknamed Hemingway cats after the famous writer who had one. From a cat with tons of toes to a dog that needed a hand. First responders played best friend to man's best friend in Oklahoma. The rescue unfolded on a cold day in Tulsa after an officer with the fire department spotted a dog stranded on a frozen pond. Firefighters responded, donning their thermal suits and inching their rapid deployment craft out onto the ice. The pup jumped in and crews pulled the vessel to shore. It's not clear how long the pooch was stuck on the ice. California's Big Sur is home to some of the most breathtaking views in the U.S., but a recent bloom in bioluminescent phytoplankton has turned its waves into a full-blown spectacle. Monterey photographer George Krieger captured the phenomenon. Experts say the glowing waves, which have spiked in occurrence since January, are caused by calm conditions and high nutrient rates, resulting in layers of concentrated dinoflagellates, and my brain exploded. Look, all you really need to know is it's purdy. Real purdy. For take a look at this. I'm Jeremy Roth.
Valentine's Day is coming up this Wednesday, the 14th. Be sure to go to Dairy Queen. We're not sponsored by Dairy Queen, but I hear they got that heart ice cream cake with the special spoon.
Yeah, and Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah, the
pizza,
Chick-fil-A heart.
They all got heart stuff coming up too.
Also, happy National Pizza Day.
Yeah.
Happy favorite day of the year.
AKA, if you're lactose intolerant, National Take Your Pills.
That's all the time we have for today, guys. Be sure to join us in the interaction by liking us on Facebook at facebook.com/APSU-TV News and also Instagram, APSU-TV.
Thanks for watching another edition of your Govs News Weekend Update.
And as always, let's go Peay.